How's that for ASMR?
It's an advert for Diet Coke right there.
Hello and welcome to the Unlucky Frog Gaming Podcast. You are joined by your two usual hosts here. We've got Tom Mannering.
Hello.
And myself, Josh Hartley. And in a rare occasion nowadays, we are actually sat next to each other.
In the same room.
Normally when we see each other in real life, we try and ignore each other. And
do our best. Yeah. Other sides of the room.
But no. Well, if you've been listening to the past episodes, you'll know why we're sat side by side. We've just had our little Warhammer 40,000 weekend.
We had our Crusade weekend that we've been talking about for the past
while.
Yeah, past 3 or 4 weeks.
When did we first hatch this plan, actually?
I think it was like maybe 3 months ago. We kind of first started whispering about it, and then it's kind of, as it's got closer and closer, we've actually done it.
So it wasn't just Tom and I. We were joined by our friend Will as well. We were going to be joined by another pal of ours, Matt, but unfortunately Matt came down with COVID.
Yeah.
So, sorry Matt, but we're going to get some games in with him in the future anyway, so it's all good. It's all good.
It's fine.
It's all good. So we've got like a ton of sort of stuff to talk about it, because you had a new army.
I did.
You've got a new codex for said new army.
I did.
We were playing in my new games, or my recently finished games room.
Yep.
And we were playing 40k Crusade, which neither of us had played before.
Nope.
So where do we start?
Well, I think the first thing I kind of want to ask you is, how did you find it?
I loved it.
Okay.
I thought it was great. Do you know what I found really interesting, and specifically about Crusade? Right, was it's not a dense rule set.
No.
Crusade. I've heard online a few people saying it's like badly structured and worded in the rule book, and I think they are right.
Yeah.
But when you actually get your head around the rules, it's pretty light, particularly if you compare it to, like, we both played like Necromunda and Mordheim and that in the past. So it feels, it does feel like a lighter rule set for like campaign narrative play than those games.
Yeah.
But that being said, even just the sort of light touches that it gives you, I found it just naturally let us weave this little story over the whole weekend, which was super cool.
Yeah.
I think that's, for both of us, that's a big draw for playing these types of games anyway, rather than just playing, and no offense to people who are into the competitive scene and that, but like, as opposed to playing it in a super sweaty, like, min-max list manner. Right.
Yeah. No.
These are the models that I own.
No offense, you sweaty bastards.
It's a genuine term. That's a term that people describe competitive players.
Okay. No, that's fair. Yeah, I think like for anyone who doesn't know, Crusade is sort of a narrative format.
Yes.
Loosely narrative that lets you basically, your game sort of have an impact on your army. And your army that you kind of start with grows and gets more powerful, and your units get more powerful, and they can get like battlefield injuries, and you can get like various resources that improve. So you have things like requisition and crusade points, and I won't go into the minutiae, but there's basically about 2 or 3 systems. There tends to be like, I think there's like 2 main systems for the actual game, for like how you run the games, and then like, in my case, I have like a system that's specific to my force. I think you have something similar, don't you, as well?
I do. It requires me to win battles for it to kick in.
So yeah, that kind of...
We'll move on to that later.
Yeah. I do want to talk about that, but yeah, as you say, we'll talk about that in a little bit. I think I really enjoyed it, and I think myself, you, and Will are all role players. So we're not strangers to narrative, and we did kind of make that effort to talk about the narrative.
Yeah, the why.
And the game doesn't make you do that. So if you do want to just play it as just games with some little subsystems to kind of make it flow together, you can do that. But we kind of went that extra mile of having conversations of, why is this happening? what's the narrative, how are people reacting to this, you know, in the different armies and things. And even like the one-on-one encounters, you know, we were kind of having little narrative discussions about how they were faring as well, which I really enjoyed, because I love the narrative side of things, obviously.
Yeah.
But no, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really, really good weekend. Obviously, I've been with you since Friday. We're recording this on Sunday now. Probably the latest we've ever recorded an episode.
Yeah, this is going to be a quick edit job to get this out tonight. So
do it live.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really, really good. Will really enjoyed it as well. We were really lucky to have Will, because you and I have a very basic understanding of the rules of this edition of 40k, and Will obviously was our kind of kept us right for the most part. There were a couple of contentious moments, but no, it was really good. So should we talk about how the games actually went?
Yeah, I mean, well, but let's start by reminding everyone what forces we actually took. So Will was taking an Imperium force.
Yes.
That's an interesting thing with Crusade, is that you've got basically 7 super factions that you choose from. So Imperium is one of them. And his was made up of a mix of Ultramarines, but he also had all 4 of the Assassins in there as well. And they had they were really fun and had some pretty big impacts on all the games that they played.
Yeah.
I was playing as my Necrons.
Yep.
And you, of course, were playing with your
Genestealers.
Your newly painted Genestealers.
Genestealer cults, yeah. That I've mentioned this previously. Will was painting them up for me, and he got a deadline of basically they needed to be painted ready for this, and he very kindly met that deadline. He had them all ready for me. So when I rocked up here with my book and my backpack, I had a fully painted army waiting for me, which was awesome. So we started, basically we went in and we wanted to do smaller games straight away, didn't we? We said we were going to do round robin, was it? You called it, yeah?
Yes, so yeah. We had 3 games one-on-one playing each other.
Yep.
And then, so that we did that throughout the day on Saturday.
Yep.
And today we played a bigger game, in a 3-way battle.
Yes, 3-way battle. You always need to put the battle in there, otherwise it's
it's weird.
Yeah. But yeah, we started off yesterday. So our first game. Should we talk about the games individually?
Yeah, of course.
So our first game was Josh and I, wasn't it? Or was
yes.
it Will and I?
Yeah, no, it was us two.
Yeah,
and it was an assassinate mission. So I was trying to assassinate your patriarch.
Yeah.
And that did not go super well for me.
No.
Although I nearly pulled it off.
You got him down to 1 wound.
Yeah, I nearly pulled it off.
One save was what it all came down to, which I was quite lucky with. I passed it. It didn't go well for you as a game, I think it's fair to say.
No, I mean, it had some super cool moments. Like, who's the cowboy guy from the Genestealers?
The Kelemorph.
The Kelemorph, just like in one shooting round, knackered like my unit of destroyers.
I think it was turn 1.
Turn 1, wiped out, and like one of my nasty units, basically. Yeah, so I was like, oh well.
He's been a bit of an MVP for me over the weekend, and he got off three shots that then give him 3 more shots potentially, and he just blasted away all of your destroyers. But then you did engage my patriarch, who was my leader that you were trying to assassinate. You engaged him in combat, and as we said, you paggered him, like you beat him down to 1 wound, and then unfortunately, the one thing we've discovered over the course this weekend is the Genestealers are incredibly nasty, and they just kind of tore through your army.
I kind of think your pure strain Genestealers are probably like the MVP of the weekend, right?
Yeah, they've got, I think I worked it out, they've got like 8 unit kills over the weekend under their belt, and that's in 2 games.
I think the highest I've got is 2.
Yeah, so they are brutal. They did a lot of heavy lifting for me, so that was a really good game. So I won that one. Just on the fact that you hadn't killed my leader. So that was a really good game for me. I really enjoyed that.
Yep. And next up, it was you versus Will.
Next up was me versus Will. So we were playing Sweep and Clear, which is kind of an objective control match, which Will was at a big detriment in the objective games because he was running a very elite force. So he'd obviously gone with Ultramarines. He'd gone with very elite Ultramarines as well. He had like a well-built chaplain, and then assault intercessors.
Yep.
And
no, he took his Blade Guard veteran.
That was the one. Yeah,
for that game.
And then he had the Calidus assassin he went with against me, who's sort of an infiltrating assassin.
Mm-hmm.
And that did not go well for him, that game, unfortunately. He had a bit of a run of bad luck, to be fair to him, and I had quite a lucky game, and I just sort of tore through most of his army. His chaplain did put up a hell of a fight, though. Like, his chaplain took a hell of a brunt and kind of held out until the last, pretty much. But yeah, I did do some damage there, and that was where we were introduced to my other MVP, which is the man with a knife and a dream.
The man with a knife and a dream, yeah.
Is
the most effective assassin on this planet.
Yep.
Which we need to talk about the planet as well.
Yes, we do. We'll talk about the games, and then we'll talk about the planet. So yeah,
so the most effective assassin on this planet, despite the fact that he is a hobo with a knife.
Yes, he is a hobo with a knife and a dream. On a planet that has an execution force of Imperial assassins, and he's still... I'd say he was showing them up, but after today's fair, the assassins have really kind of recouped a little bit of honour for themselves as well. So that was mine and Will's game, so I won that one as well. So by the end of Saturday, I was in a very good mood, because I'd won both my games. I really can't bitch about not winning games of 40k now, because I've won pretty much every game of 9th edition.
You've
won, maybe?
The very first game of 9th edition we played, when I was bringing my Death Guard. Yeah, maybe that's the trick, because I've been playing Necrons ever since. Yeah. So maybe I need to bring the Death Guard back.
Maybe that's the case. So then we had the last game of Saturday, which was you versus Will. So do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. So the mission in this for this game was it was a supply drop. So narratively, we were saying that the Ultramarines had called in for supplies to help them fight these the cultists. Yep. And my guys saw these supplies dropping in and thought they'd get in on that as well. So it was a tight game.
It was really tight. Yeah.
We had some super cool moments, and I can never remember the names of the assassins, but he had the sniper assassin.
That's the Vindicator.
And him and my Necron Overlord with his one-shot per battle arrow started what I suspect may be a long-running feud.
Yeah.
As they fired shots off at each other, really, really hurting each other, but not quite killing them.
Yeah.
And I had another cool moment where my Overlord resurrected himself when he died as well. So that was awesome. But Will managed to beat me on that one. He managed basically to wipe out my force, but only after his chaplain is brutal in close combat. By the way, his chaplain chewed through my big blob of Necron warriors.
Yeah, he's a beast. He takes a bit of a chewing to get through. So that was a win for Will there. But that, as you say, that was a closer fight, definitely.
Yeah.
So that kind of drew Saturday to a close for us. Then we went and had a very late dinner for reasons that we won't discuss. It was nice.
It was nice.
It took fucking ages. And then on Sunday, we decided we were going to have a big game, and you had very kindly gone out and bought like a campaign, a Crusade book.
Yeah, it's the mission pack that's called Catastrophe, and it has rules for playing 3 and 4 player missions.
Yeah, so we'd kind of planned this. We buffed our forces up a little bit, so we'd been on 25 power points yesterday. We decided to go up to 40 power points for this. And basically the 3 of us were all battling at once, and we got a mission which was quite cool called Treasure Hunt, which was basically looking for Archaeotech, which is really old but powerful technology that was on this planet. We went to a completely different map. You flipped your map over. We put different terrain down because we'd done sort of the first 3 games. We'd done in different parts of a ruined city.
Yes,
using your really cool resin ruined city terrain, and then today we did kind of an industrial site using your Necromunda MDF terrain that you got for Kill Team, and we had a 3-way battle on this site over this Archaeotech, and it was brutal. Like the amount of casualties in that battle by the end of it.
Yes.
over 3 armies fighting, the end of it there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 models.
Yeah, my force had been wiped out entirely.
Yeah. So it was quite funny. So the system, it has rules for honor and treachery, which is really, really cool. And you basically get to choose whether one of your characters is honorable or whether they're treacherous. Mm-hmm. So Josh and Will both chose honorable because they'd had kind of a 1v1 fight.
Yeah, the little duel,
generals with their warlords. And I chose treacherous because I am.
Yeah.
And basically, at the very start of it, Will kind of starts trying to propose alliances to Josh because they'd started kind of on the same side of the board, and I was on the opposite side of the board. And I was kind of whispering in your ear, sort of.
So, and I'm not going to deny, you did ultimately persuade me not to form any sort of alliance with him, and that was a mistake. Yeah. However, my thinking at the time was, basically, Will took Eradicators, which are like heavy weapon infantry, which are really good at dealing with monsters and vehicles. And I had a monster. I had a Canoptic Reanimator there. That was the only thing in my force that they were going to be really good against, though. So I kind of figured, okay, I'll lose that one thing. It's a bit of a bummer, but it won't be the end of the world. And then I'll be able to wipe out his Eradicators with my Necron Warriors. Because I have the huge unit of Necron Warriors that puts out a ton of firepower.
They absolutely stripped through Marines as well. We saw that in the game on the Saturday.
Yeah. Now, the problem was, though, I made a mistake I decided not to advance them.
Yeah.
And it meant that some of them were out of range, so I couldn't finish that unit off. Which meant that they could then charge me, tying that my best asset on the field, tying that up for a good chunk of the game, while your force ripped through the rest of Will's army.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't rip through it. It did, but I lost a lot myself.
My Scarab Swarms did amazing.
Yeah, your Scarab Swarms cut down my Acolyte Hybrids. Will's Eversa cut down my Patriarch, my Leader. My Gene Stealers, whilst they were brutal and they did absolutely cut a bloody swath in that game, my Pure Strains, by the end of it, there was literally one of them standing.
Yeah.
All our characters got brutalized by Will's assassins. Like,
oh my god, yeah! Like my Royal Warden, first game I get to play him, and he's just sniped right out the gate. It's so brutal.
He got sniped. My Patriarch got killed by the Eversa. My Magus got killed by, I think that was by the Calexus. My what's he called? Sanctus, Knife and a Dream. You killed him with your wall.
My Overlord, yeah.
Yep. And my Kelemorph was killed by. He got like killed in combat by Will's Calexus. He got punched to death, basically.
Yeah, just like
after having, again, he did quite well in that game, and so did the Sanctus. He took on a unit of your Necrons on his own, which was That was actually a close fight.
I had a ridiculous reanimation roll the first round of combat because you killed half of that unit and they all came back.
Yeah, so both Josh and Will at one point in that game had to roll 5 dice and either get 4s or 5s, and both of them did it on all of them, and I was just like, how is this happening? And I can't bitch because ultimately I won. But it was really close, and we actually worked out Will could have potentially tied it with you if he'd managed to hold me off at the very end of it.
Up until you killed my Overlord was the last model I had for a couple of turns.
Yeah.
Up until he died, I still had a path to victory because the mission needed you to hold a specific objective, and because of the dynasty that I've picked for my Necrons, he had objective secured, which meant he would trump anyone on it. So if he somehow managed to survive, and he's quite tough because he can resurrect himself.
Yeah, I mean he took a full charge from Gene Stealers, tied up a good few rounds with them, went down, reanimated, charged my Sanctus, killed my Sanctus. Then I basically decided to just put everything on him to make sure that he was taken out of the equation because I knew he was going to be a big threat.
Yeah.
So I put the remaining Gene Stealers and the Aberrant on him, and that was the end of him. But it was a a really close run thing, right up until the end. Really, like turn 4 was kind of the tipping point. Obviously, that dropped you off, and then turn 5 was me and Will.
I was actually ahead on victory points for most of that mission.
All the game, right up until literally the last scoring, you were still ahead of me. It was just so basically what happened quite early in the game. Myself and Josh were both sort of standing on objectives, and we made a brief pact that we would both dig, and you would tell me where the treasure was. And you've obviously realised the treasure was on where I was stood. And to your credit, to your honour, you did tell me the right space where it was. And I held up my end of the bargain that didn't charge you with my Aberrants. I did charge you with my Sanctus, so I was a little bit wry with it. But it was a really, really close call. And it's a really cool mission as well, because it was potentially very swingy because of that. You get 40 points from the final hold, which can really kind of bump you over. So we had that bit. I think we had that up on Will. Will really didn't get much momentum on victory points because he just didn't have the bodies to hold that we had. But he could have potentially clawed it back if he'd got the treasure at the end. So that was the end of our games. So let's have a chat about the world.
This is all part of the Gene Stealer Codex, isn't it?
Yes. So basically, I have a rule for Crusade called Day of Ascension, and it's all about the Gene Stealers infiltrating this. You have to create a world. And this happened purely by accident, because we did discuss this on last week's episode. But I have to create a world that I'm going to basically trying to take over, because Gene Stealers do very kind of cloak and dagger. They kind of infiltrate society and undermine all the sort of structure of the society and take over. So I had to make a world. So I mentioned on last week's episode that we were going to be playing over Joshland, which you vetoed. So I made it Josetierra, which is Joshland in Spanish.
It kind of sounds cool though, Josetierra.
Yeah.
Josetierra.
I'm
I'll allow it.
Probably bastardizing Spanish there, but it's close enough. So we basically fought this over the mining world of Josetierra, and we had a really cool narrative about how sort of the Gene Stealer cults had been there, kind of putting things into motion. The Ultramarines were kind of coming down to investigate as the Necrons had kind of attacked this planet, which had forced the Gene Stealer cults to expedite their plans.
Yeah, show their hand.
And then the Ultramarines, it was quite funny because Will was dealing with the shock factor, just kind of his Ultramarines get there, just there's suddenly these two Xenos forces fighting over this planet. And that was kind of our narrative weaving through it. And then at the end of it, because I'd won 3 games, my Path of Ascension, I basically seized my first sort of pillar of the society, which I'd taken community. So we've kind of infiltrated into the society of Josetierra, and now we're potentially looking at for the next Crusade event that we do. Will there be new forces turning up? Are the Imperium going to reach out for reinforcements? Are the Necrons going to fortify, or is there another threat on the horizon?
I know that Matt was planning on bringing his Deathwing Dark Angels army. So I think what we're going to do is I'll find out when he's available, and I might introduce my Death Guard to this world as well, and we can level up our forces against each other in prep for having the 4 of us, and possibly even more. Will was saying that he has a friend who's interested in having a crack at 40k. So, and you mentioned one of our pals up in Glasgow as well was messaging you about it. So
I think we potentially might end up with a few people. And the good thing about Crusade is you're not on a timeline. You don't have to do it by a certain time. You don't have to play the exact same number of games as everyone else. Although you probably want to keep some degree of balance, just so it doesn't get silly. But you can kind of have a nice few games without it kind of going off the rails.
I mean, just by virtue of you guys actually winning more games than I have, you're considerably further ahead than me in terms of Crusade points is sort of like the measure of each force as to how good they are within the Crusade system, like how much experience they've gained in it, etc. And Will's a little bit ahead of me, but not
how many Crusade points have you got?
I'm 4.
Okay, I'm on 9. That's fair. Yeah.
Okay. Double.
Yeah, okay.
It means I'll get a load of command points against you.
You'll get 3.
Yeah.
That's good. That's really good. It's really, really cool. And I'm really kind of excited about, what's going to happen next. I'm going away and we've kind of been discussing when we wrapped up today, what we're going to be adding to our forces. And you've obviously considered what your new forces might be if you bring your Plague Marines. Nurgle, and it makes sense for Nurgle to rock up because obviously now there's been fights, there's people dying, there's going to be
siege. That's what I was trying to work out. Is like, okay, how are the Death Guard going to show up here? That's awesome.
So Papa Nurgle starts to sense the despair and the death and the potential rifeness.
Yeah.
And this planet's really having a time of it.
Yeah, sod being a citizen on this planet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're fine. They're all nicely indoctrinated into the guild of the.
Not all of them.
A good number of them.
When the codex comes out for them, I might try Imperial Guard as a sort of actual planetary defense.
The planetary defense force.
Just beset on all sides.
Yeah, this could not get any worse.
Probably even against the Imperium themselves as well, if they're trying to wipe out this planet.
Well, this is the thing, right? Because now, because I've got that community thing, is the Imperium going to really trust the people of Josetierra?
Exactly.
Because they are part of the people that will be making up the cult. My group's called the Guild of Flesh Apotheosis, so they will be people that kind of maybe fallen in line or are supplying or. Are following the creed, and then obviously you've got the Necrons just running rampant, just evaporating people with their blasters, and the Imperium just doesn't know what to do. And then Nurgle rocks up, and then it's a
mess.
Yeah,
it's just a complete mess.
So all told, I think it's been a really, really good weekend. I've had a lot of fun. If you haven't noticed, if you don't follow us on Facebook and you maybe catch us elsewhere, there are loads of photos on our Facebook of the weekend, so do go and check those out as well.
Yeah.
Give them a like and share them with your friends if they like Warhammer 40,000 as well, because they're awesome.
And this was kind of me debuting my dedicated gaming room as well, so I was chuffed with. I'm chuffed with how there's a few things that I need to finish on here basically, but it served its purpose, and it's nice just having an actual dedicated space for it, so it doesn't. I mean, it still bleeds out into the rest of my house anyway, but it's not everywhere at least.
Yeah, and you can kind of fine tune that as you go forward, can't you? With it, it was really, really good. We had it's a good big space. Board's really nice. You've got loads of terrain options as well. We didn't have it. The board wasn't similar in any game.
No,
we had some fun sort of making the city terrain with the roads that go nowhere, and that was kind of the Gene Stealer's first machination. And we had the roundabout as well for your game with Will, which was really cool.
Yeah,
with a supply drop in the middle of it.
That was neat.
Yeah, we had some really, really cool boards for it. It was just the other thing as well. We've not really mentioned this, but we all had fully painted armies on a.
Oh yeah, and it looked great.
Yeah, on a fully terrained board that was all painted and stuff, and it was a nice proper sort of mat as well that you had. So Will had his very nice, very blue Ultramarines. You had your awesome Necrons with their terrifying uniformity, and I had my very vibrant Gene Stealers that Will had done for me. So it was stunning, just having these really nicely painted armies sort of clashing over a weekend. Yeah,
it's nice just to actually play 40k rather than just talking about it as well, which is somewhat of a rarity.
Yeah, because we've been talking about this for weeks, and that's not even including conversations we've had beforehand about playing. So it was really, really good to get in and get the games out, and hopefully we'll get something else on in the calendar, and get another session somewhere down the road where we can hopefully get everybody back and maybe get one or two new people as well.
Yeah,
to come and
looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Right. Well, before we sign off and say our goodbyes, and I scramble to edit this as quickly as possible. It's just a reminder that we've still got our Patreon live.
We do.
There you can, if you like what you're hearing, you can donate as little as £1 or $1 per month, just to help us keep going. Use it mostly for paying for our subscription fees, but we've used it in the past for buying new equipment and the like as well.
Yep.
And of course, if you can't do that, then by all means, like, share, subscribe. The usual calls to action on social media, please. Thank you. Good night.
Please and thank you.
Yeah.
Right, that's great. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Bye.
We'll see you later. Bye.